Pressure on a group that has been under a great deal of pressure already this year. Right now, the Dow clawing its way back, up 14 points. Back to you guys.
Hi, Mary. Thank you so much. I want to take a look at real estate now. Is the smart money betting on real estate? Our wealth reporter, Robert Frank, now with some new data showing that, smart or not, the big money is making the bet. Over to you, Robert.
Thanks, Maria. Well, again, call it smart money or big money. The wealthy are certainly pouring money into real estate these days. A new study shows that of people earning $450,000 or more, about a quarter of them are in the market right now for real estate. That's a huge jump from 17% last year. Add to that all the foreign buyers, the aversion to stocks these days, low interest rates, and you've got a potential for an even bigger boom in luxury housing. Just today, we see news that the Woolworth building in downtown Manhattan is converting to multi-million-dollar apartments. The penthouse in that famous green cupola at the top, it's going to have 5 floors. Price will no doubt be tens of millions of dollars, a huge step up from that old 5 and dime that started that building. In Miami, meanwhile, news yesterday that a waterfront mansion sold for $47 million, the all-time record in Miami. It's 30,000 square feet, 10 bedrooms, 14 baths, a separate spa, and 6 wet bars. The buyer is a Russian, no doubt, who loves to party with 6 wet bars. Maria?
Nice. A lot of vodka.
6 wet bars.
6 wet bars.
You know,
maybe he's a vodka owner or something. Who knows?
So is much of the money in real estate coming from foreigners then?
It's everything right now. It's like a harmonic convergence for high-end real estate. You've got all the Russians, the Chinese, the Brazilians pouring in. You've got low interest rates for the wealthy who can get credit right now. You've got this mansion cliff, which I talked about, where the wealthy want to get these deals done this year. So I think it's going to be a really hot 6 months for these multi-million-dollar properties, especially in New York and Florida.
All right, Robert, thanks so much.
Thank
Robert
you.
Frank.
We think that prices have stabilized, but we think they might bounce around here a little bit at the bottom. Might go up a little, might go down a little, but we're not expecting to see, huge improvement going forward. We could expect to see that over the long term, perhaps, but in the near term, we're really not so sure.
And that was Fannie Mae's CEO here on CNBC earlier, tempering expectations of a dramatic turnaround for home prices, but should he be more optimistic?
Yeah, CoreLogic reporting that home prices rising 2.5% in June from a year ago. Why? Not government programs, but instead, it's the basic rules of supply and demand. Is this evidence the housing market is turning the corner sooner than many think? Fred Glick is president of U.S. Loans Mortgage. He isn't so sure, but Billy Procida is more optimistic. Billy, it certainly seems as though housing has turned the corner.
Well, look, I think all the bad stuff's behind us, and the numbers that have changed, and I don't really like to follow the numbers because you can't really trust them too much, in my opinion. But look, housing prices and the volume has gone up because the robo-signing's behind us, and now you got private equity funds coming in, buying up thousands of houses at once. The good news is that the houses that were bought in 2010, 2011 have now been renovated and are coming out to the market. I think one of the things that nobody gets about the housing market is most of your stuff is short sales, and they're not renovated and not in any good condition. And the stuff that moved in 10 and 11 that's been renovated and is being sold by a good local broker are getting good numbers. And by the way, the first-time home buyer, like always, is the one going to pull us out of this market.
Well, Fred, what about pricing here? I mean, the issue of supply keeps coming up because of the foreclosures and just because there's just a lot of supply on the market. Is that still the case, or are we slowly but surely getting rid of this supply, and what has that done to prices?
Wow. Okay. Well, first of all, I'm still working on the 6 wet bars. But anyway.
Oh, okay. That's true.
Lay off the vodka so we can get through this segment.
No problem. It's all over the place is the biggest problem. You've got tons of rentals now. You do have first-time buyers coming in the market, but a lot of the problem has been that they're trying to buy a house and then the appraisals get whacked, or they can't qualify for some reason. FHA's, Fannie standards, everything's getting tough, and the mortgages are really what's hurting and pushing things down, even though people want to buy. Some people don't even bother going into the market. The thing that I hate is the media, not you guys, of course, comes out and says you have to have a 20% down payment, which is not true. So there's so many little factors in the market that are holding people back in addition to
by the way,
mortgages.
You should really have 20% to afford a home. That's a fact. If you go back to the 60s and the 70s, 20% is the right number, or we're going to end up in the same mess.
Oh, God, no. Then don't have VA
what's the
loans.
number
Tell all the
then?
veterans we're going to stop doing 100% financing for them.
What's
Which,
the
in
number
fact, the
then from your
VA
standpoint,
loans
Fred?
100%. Listen, here's the problem. 100% financing based on an appraisal. And if appraisers were any good, we wouldn't have had this problem in the first place. We had appraisers appraise every house in the country. And they're all 30% off.
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac need to go and get rid of the HVCC. That will open up the markets, and we will have more sales. I guarantee you.
Is it easier to get a mortgage or not, Fred?
It's
No.
tougher.
Compared
It's
to
tougher.
it's stupid. These underwriters are
Is it
scared
harder or
to
not?
death.
Scott's asking, is it tougher to get a
I
mortgage?
mean, you run a mortgage company. You're a mortgage broker. Is it easier or more difficult
Gotta be tougher.
to get a mortgage?
Tougher. Period.
Regardless of what you put down.
By the way, I agree with
I've had
Fred.
33%.
I agree with Fred. It is tougher.
33% loan to value refis that they won't do because somebody turned left instead of turning right 5 years ago. Hello?
Well,
It's ridiculous out there.
They do have to get a little bit better about the people that have done short sales that have decent credit. They should be able to go buy a house again, because one of the problems is when the first-time home buyer and the second and the step-up market, when they're buying a short sale, that person that sold and got out of the house, they were forced to not pay their mortgage, even if they could. They were forced to go 3 to 6 months not paying their mortgage, and that's the buyer who we really need to look at and say, how do we enable them to get a mortgage to buy their next home?
You know what? And there were people who did short sales who made their payments up to the end. Perfect credit, but it goes on your credit report as a short sale, and then you can't do anything for a few years, depending on who you have to go back to get financing.
Guys, we'll make that the last word. Billy, Fred, thank you very much.
We'll see you soon, guys. Thanks.
All right.